Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging. And to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Talladega Superspeedway lives up to its name. Of all the closed-circuit motorsport facilities in the world where sanctioned auto races are held, it is the fastest. Constructed by the France family 10 years after Daytona International Speedway, Talladega was built slightly longer at 2.66 miles with steeper 33-degree banking, which guaranteed record-setting speeds. The pole speed for NASCAR's first race in 1969 was a stunning 199.466 miles per hour, almost 30 miles per hour faster than the Indy cars were then lapping at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rule changes in 1987 meant that Bill Elliott's 212.809 mile per hour lap will likely stand forever as the qualifying record at Talladega and for NASCAR. Talladega is still the fastest track on the schedule. It holds the record for the fastest 500-mile stock car race at 188.354 miles per hour, Mark Martin's winning speed in May of '97, and produces some of the most exciting door-to-door racing every year. Talladega puts on 5 separate race events each year as host of the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity, Craftsman Truck Series, and the ARCA Series. But tonight, it's race number 10, the Beadles Custom Car Carriers Truck Series, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Talladega Super Speedway race number 10, season 18. The Beadles Custom Car Carriers Truck Series presented by the Num Thumbs Racing League. Race details tonight: 90 laps the race distance, 82-degree ambient temperature, 29% humidity under clear skies, a bright, shiny sun this afternoon, 6-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature a little warm, 128 degrees Fahrenheit, not likely to cause too much of an issue with the handling given how big this place is. Drivers have no fast repair, but 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish, a 75% fuel load on board, and unlimited tire sets. Again, kind of a moot point, not necessarily going to need those tires tonight, but you may see some take it later on for those aggressive moves that may come up. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. Let's check things out here. Fastest time, though, so far, with a minute left in the session, is the 7 of Brian McCann, only driver to crack below the 50-second mark. Second quick, the 333 of Sean Roberts. Further down the line, Nick Biddy, Skylar Herod, Ryan Pasoko, then Mike Fahey, Drew Blaze, Mark Collins, Paul Durkee, Tom Barish. That's your top 10 fast times. Got Vincent Short in the chat, says chaos and carnage tonight. Glad he's got a positive outlook on things. But with that practice in the books, black and red flags on the session, we're going to get right into qualifying immediately thereafter. 2 laps or 10 minutes, whatever comes first. Green flag on the session here. Again, 10 minutes to set this up. We're going to go to Vincent Short here. Looks like he's the first truck to roll. Vince with some new colors this week. Not a very aggressive exit out of the pits here. He may have a different strategy here for qualifying. Vince has been known to be a front runner at these super speedways, especially in qualifying, always a threat for the pole position. Very interesting here is very slow outlap here. Typically, you want to get these trucks wound up as soon as possible. Unless he's just targeting for lap 2 to be his fast time. Short into the tri-oval here. Again, you'll note the start-finish line further down the road by comparison to Daytona. Start-finish just at pit exit. Vincent Short on the clock here at Talladega Superspeedway. Short across the stripe. Milner's a 54.89. Short goes P2, 55.187. I would attribute that to his slow outlap. I think this just might be part of the plan for the 15 here. We'll stick with Vince here. Likely to be a good time here on this second lap. We'll see what he locks in. Right now, the top time is of the 31 of Scott Milner, 54.89 seconds around this 2.66 mile tri-oval. Vince about a tire's width or two off the bottom. Lower you can get, the better, but you don't want to force it down there. If you're not on the line, stay put where you're at. Don't want to scrub speed by putting too much wheel into it. Vince back to the tri-oval here to finish up his qualifying effort. He's fourth on the board right now. Exiting the tri-oval, keeps it above the yellow line, crosses start-finish, and he goes P1, 54.791. Good lap for Vince Short. Jesse Redding in the number 21 out of Knoxville, Iowa. Crosses the line. Fifth quick, 54.89. Jesse getting it right down to that yellow line. Just pins the left side on the bottom. The other chance you take is if you get a little too far down, you get to the flat of the racetrack and it's going to shoot you up the banking. Short still top time, 54.79. Rowland almost got there with an 80. Redding back to start finish. He'll finish his second lap here. Where does he land? Stays seventh. Actually slowed down just a hair. Now to Connor Leach in the number 71. And Brian McCann goes to the point, 54.78 seconds. Beats out Short by about 100th of a second. Still about 5 minutes left in qualifying. We'll see if Connor Leach has got anything for that front row. Leach 16th on his first lap. Jumps up into row twos. Fourth quick, 54.83. Front row is still Brian McCann and Vincent Short. Watching the lap of Connor Leach here. First lap, 55.679. Sits 20th. Leach is going to drop it down to the apron of the racetrack. That's fine in qualifying. Don't do it during the race. And Albert Anderson goes P3. He'll be a threat tonight. Leach crosses the stripe. Fourth quick, 54.803. Chris Goins on the clock. Goins in the Hot Tamales number 4 again this week. Goins across start finish, lap 1, 55.360, 21st quick. Top 2 still McCann and Short. Then it's Anderson, Leach, Rowland, the top 5. Goins back to the tri-oval here on lap number 2 of his qualifying effort. Goins across start finish. Plug check, 8th quick, 54.841. Thought Drew Blaze was going to get rolling here. He jumped in the truck for a moment, but nowhere to be found on track. Still a handful of drivers that have yet to take a time. It's Ryan Kemper, Drew Blaze, 00 Joe Bennett, Jarrett Woodard, Russ Endicott, Brandon Coleman, Mark Collins, Mark Truxell. He'll be a threat tonight to keep the fenders on the 5. And Eddie Rose. Does appear everybody else has taken their time. 2 minutes left in the session. You might see a late driver pull out here and make an attempt, but maybe not. With that said, though, we're going to step aside, get another break out of the way before we get to our starting grid. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody
Back at Talladega's Super Speedway field, beginning to get gridded up here just prior to start finish. With that, let's take a look at it. Our starting grid on the pole position with a lap time of 54.788 seconds. It is the 7 of Brian McCann. Outside, front row, Vincent Short missed it by 3/1000ths of a second. He'll start that Track Bar Motorsports 15 still on the outside pole. Row number 2 is Albert Anderson in the 99 and Connor Leach in the number 71. Row 3, it's Carson Rowland in the 90 and Justin Lawson in the 20. Fourth row, it's the 13 of Paul Durkee and Chris Goins in the 4. Row 5 will be Nick Biddy in the 32 and Larry Dickerson in the number 69 machine. Starting 11th, it's Jonathan Marsh. Starting 12th, it'll be Scott Milner. 13th starter, it's Ben McKinnon. Joe David will start 14th. 15th belongs to Mike Fahey. Skylar Herod rolls 16th. Ryan Pasoko credited with 17th. 18th starter, Rick LePage. 19th is Jesse Redding. 20th, Mike Corvu. 21st will be Tom Barris. Sean Roberts, 22nd. Tommy Welch starts 23rd. Drew Blaze in the number 30 will start 24th. 25th belongs to Double O Joe Bennett. Jarrett Woodard will start to his right elbow in 26th. Mark Truxell, 27th. 28th belongs to Mark Collins. Eddie Rose, 29th. 30th, Ryan Kemper. 31st starter is the 11 of Brandon Coleman, and Russ Endicott in the 57 will round out the field. Shotgun on the field in 32nd. Your starting grid here from Talladega Superspeedway. Many drivers you see parking down low at the bottom of the racetrack and has served some penalties here this week. Larry Dickerson among those drivers, Jesse Redding as well. Take a look at the race details again before we get underway here. 90 laps the race distance, 83-degree ambient temperature, 27% humidity under clear skies, bright sunshiny day here in Talladega. 4-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Handling not likely to come into play here today, but that temperature a little concerning. Maybe you see some tire changes here as this race goes on. Drivers working with 75% fuel load, unlimited tires over the wall, no fast repairs. Count them, 0 zip zillage, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish, if so necessary. You got Plus EV Racing. Let's go Plus EV. Had a big storm here and the power is out, so watching from my phone. We've had some weather out in the western New York area as well this afternoon. Hopefully we can keep things powered up here at Track Limits headquarters. Fingers crossed. Field rolling through turns 3 and 4. The iRacing pace truck lights are out. It's going to make the left turn and head down pit lane, but we've got a ways before we see that green flag. Still need to get all the way through this big trial here at Talladega Superspeedway. Again, that start-finish line located at pit exit, not in the center of the trial as we see at Daytona. A little bit of the character of this great racetrack here in Talladega.
Green flag.
Field rolling through the Geico start zone. Green flag in the air, and on the birthday of Dale Earnhardt, we are green from Talladega Superspeedway. Field still coming up to speed here as they work down the end of the back straightaway into turn number 3. Vincent Short has jumped out to the early lead off the nose of Connor Leach. Was clear. Brian McCann keeps it up top. Wants to stay in front of the 71 Leach, enjoying that push that he's providing. But out of turn 4, McCann retakes the top spot, but that outside line starting to come with full steam yet again. Vincent Short will take credit for leading lap number 1. The entire field here running double file. All the way back, we got one in the wall. Not sure who it was. It might have been Larry Dickerson. Larry was able to gather it back up. We stay green. front, some shuffling up front here as McCann retakes the race lead. Short now, that outside lane seems to be pretty potent out of turn 2. Does carry some momentum down the back straightaway, but on the bottom, a shorter way around. Brian McCann working his way back towards the race lead off the nose of the 90 of Carson Rowland. In the number 5, as you watch him work his way through the field. He started 27, has just now cracked the top 20. Drivers minding their P's and Q's early on here at Talladega. Chris Gones steps on the line, goes to the high side without any help. This might be by design. May prefer to go to the back or just try to entice some drivers ahead of him to work in that third lane. Right now, it doesn't seem to be the case. Losing the draft just a bit. No real helpers there in front of or behind for the 4, Chris Gones. He slips back now to the 17th spot. Jarrett Woodard now up the gut. They're 3 wide. Now Skylar Herod jumps to the top. The 3 and the 4 are going to work together and go towards the front. 31 and Milner a little bit out of sorts for a moment. Tried to get tucked in. There wasn't enough room. 2 trucks trying to work the outside, looking for some more help. Continues. Brian McCann holding on to that top spot for the time being. Taking a look, the outside lane starting to gather some more helpers. In the first 2-3 rows. Battle for the lead short in the meat of the sandwich. You got McCann on the bottom and Chris Gones to the outside with Skylar Herod leading the charge. Bottom lane seems to be the fastest right now as McCann able to edge out even with the 3 wide battle that's going on next to and behind him. With Vincent Short still up front here with Brian McCann. Carson Rowland staying dedicated to the back bumper of the 7 of McCann. Nobody really getting super aggressive. It's very early here, only 7 laps complete as we cross start finish. Does seem like that outside lane with Skylar Herod and Chris Gones. These 2 are going to be working together here, it seems. Right now, the only 2 drivers really interested in working the high lane with Mike Corvu jumping up there as well on occasion If they can work that high side in and garner some more help up top, they really can make a march towards the front. But right now they lack the numbers. It is relatively early to push the issue on that high lane and go 3 wide, but so far with this place as wide as it is, they're making it work. Got to give some credit here to Brian McCann. Again, he's just keeping that truck. He's got a plan. He's dedicated to it. He's pinned to the bottom. On the outside lane, gets alongside and noses in front. He doesn't panic. He just kind of stays put, lets the bottom lane be that short way around. That's where he's gaining most of that position. But now Skylar Harrod has switched it up. He's now in the middle lane in front of Vincent Short, knowing that Vince is going to be a big pusher here. But that's going to put Chris Goins to the point here on the outside with Corvu, Redding, and Nick Biddy all in a row, along with the 11 of Coleman. Joe David in the mix as well, so now a 6-truck draft in the top lane. Out of the 15 of Vincent Short, almost got into the 13 of Paul Durkee. Now he's up the racetrack looking for room around Skylar Harrod. Vincent Short does not like to follow anybody. In this case, he is tucked in behind the 3 of Harrod and wants back around so he can continue to contend for that top spot. Vincent has won races on these super speedways in the past. He's definitely going to be a threat for it tonight. Goins, however, on the outside lane in the Hot Tamales number 4, still not having enough help up top to make that work. Again, I think this is all just a feeling out period. This might be Goins and the rest of those top lane riders up there trying to calculate what's going to work later on in this race. Will the top lane come in a little better? Will it be faster? Will it get more drivers willing to go up there and work with them? Time will tell. It's only 12 laps in, though. Goins was battling for the top spot. He's fallen back to 12th. Up front, though, Harrod now the new leader. He has switched lanes, jumps to the bottom of the racetrack, abandoned the nose of Vincent Short, but now Short alongside Harrod into turn 3. He's got Connor Leach to the back bumper, and the 333 is Sean Roberts, a lap truck up top. Field's going to have to scatter to get around. They might have to go 4 wide here. Roberts, I think, scraped the wall on the exit of 4, trying to make sure he was not collected. They did a good job to get through, but I think Roberts is going to be the short end of the stick in that exchange. Something amiss here with Albert Anderson. Remember, he qualified 3rd here tonight. He is the last truck in the running order, 32nd. He is 2 laps down. Meanwhile, back out front, top 2 battling it out again. Short and Harrod side by side into 3. some three wide again. Milner, Gones, Mike Corvu and Jesse Redding still working that top lane. Getting some more help. Now a 5-truck draft at the top side. Meanwhile, Skylar Herod continues to lead here at Talladega Super Speedway, and he's got a fan out there in the chat. Gabby Benura says, yeah, number 3, let's go. Fitting to see the 3 at the front of this field at Talladega Super Speedway on what would have been the 74th birthday of the man himself, Dale Earnhardt. The battle for the race lead continues. It's Herod and Short, albeit a passive battle at this point. Still far too early to really push the issue. Things are going to go to hell in a handbasket before this one's over for sure. But right now, the top 2, it's the 3 and the 7. And Herod and Brian McCann both on the inside lane. Outside lane, it's Vincent Short and Connor Leach, and then the 20 of Lawson. Jump on board here with Chris Gones. Take a look at the driver's eye cam we have set up on his helmet. This is pretty much what he sees behind the wheel. This is just above the right eye of the driver. Clear track out in front of him, at least in that high lane. Oh, we got trouble! Trouble in turn 3. Big time trouble. Vincent Short involved in this. And we got the big one early. We talked about being too aggressive too early. This is the big one here at Talladega. Multiple drivers involved. Remember, folks, no fast repair in this series. This is going to chew up a lot of competitive trucks. Jones definitely got into that one. A lot of our front runners too. Vincent Short, Skylar Herod. See, Brian McCann may have gotten through that. Let's take a look. Got to back this up a little bit further. So Short's in the outside lane here. He's going to switch to the bottom here in front of Skylar Herod. He is clear. But it looks like, I don't know if Brian McCann got in the back of Skylar, shot him forward into the back of Short, or if Vince being just in front of Skylar kind of filled that void in front of the 3, no longer having clean air on the nose of that truck. Now he's in a vacuum, thus creating the draft. It might have pulled him up there closer and faster than he anticipated, but man, you see the rest is history from here. want to watch this from the roof of the 3 here. See, from this perspective, I'm going to watch this again. Back it up. Regardless of whether anybody got in the back of the 3, he's actually to the inside of Vince into 3. Vince doesn't come all the way down. It's super close. Nevertheless, a little too aggressive, a little too soon for, I think, everybody involved, other than the innocent bystanders. But nonetheless, there you have it. Parking lot in turns 3 and 4. So with that, that's going to put the lead in the hands of the 71 of Connor Leach. Justin Lawson will be second, Brian McCann, Ryan Pasocco, and Mark Truxell from 27th up into 5th. Pit stops have been completed. Does appear that the top 3 drivers maybe went with either right sides only or just fuel. That'd be Leach, Lawson, and McCann. Everybody else opted for 4. Again, it's a caution pit stop, so they had the time to do that, but I think these front runners want to maintain that track position near the front of the field. So we've crossed start finish. We are on the 1 to go. So lap 22, we will be green. Many drivers taken out in that incident. Ryan Pasocco, Larry Dickerson, Jarrett Woodard, Roland, Mike Corvu, Scott Milner, Double O Joe, Mike Fahey, Rick LePage, Vincent Short, Eddie Rose, Ryan Kemper, Chris Gones. Sure, I missed some others. Better than half the field involved in our first caution of the night. EV Racing says, I would think it's on the 2 get down all the way. I'm assuming he's referring to the 15. Yeah, I mean, he can stay where he was. There's nothing that says he can't, but unfortunately, you leave an opening. The 3's going to try and fill it. I just think it was a little too soon to push that hard for that spot. But to each their own, it is a race after all. But green flag in the air. We're back to racing here at Talladega. Connor Leach, Brian McCann, 1 and 2 as they cross start finish. Lawson 3rd, Pasocco, Truxell 4th and 5th. Man, Brian McCann pushing the 71 with everything he's got down the back. Built some distance between 3rd, 4th, and the rest of the field. top three remain. Leach, McCann, and Lawson. Outside lane starting to move now. Mark Truxell pushing the 23 Mark Collins up. Collins leads that outside lane. A little bit further back, though, the 11th place machine, the 30 of Drew Blaze, working with Mike Fahey in the 19. They're trying to build that top lane as well. A little bit of right front damage on the 30, though. That's going to be catching the wind a little bit. Oh, a little side-by-side action with Ryan Kemper. Door to door with the 30 and the 14 as they come to start-finish. Lots of three wide yet again here. Just a few trucks, though, topside. Still Drew Blaze, Mike Fahey, the lead trucks in the outside lane. They need some more help up there, but might have some drivers a little more gun-shy about that, though this field has been shrunk down slightly from that crash. Outside, still Blaze and Fahey. They're going to abandon that plan for the time being, just as they picked up the 3 of Skylar Herod. Herod not out of this race yet, though he is at the back of the field, 1 lap down. Just one more caution. Could get that lap back. He needs to get himself into a better position to get that lucky dog. Now, speaking of lucky dog, what does that mean? I know I've mentioned it here a million times here on these broadcasts, but for the newer fans out there that don't know what the heck I'm talking about when I say the lucky dog, effectively that is the first car or truck in this case that is 1 lap down to the race leaders. If, and only if, the caution comes out, that driver would be afforded the opportunity to pass the field and get that lap back. Of course, you'd have to restart at the tail end of the field, but getting back on a lap, the same lap as the race leaders, is significantly beneficial, especially here at a place like Talladega where you cannot make those laps up under green flag conditions. And it's just not going to happen. This drafting package that these trucks have, there's no way to really build a gap and get away. So you need to be in position to get that lucky dog and get that wave around. At Chris Goins, damaged terminal on the 4. He is out of this race. Further back through the field here in the 9th spot, we watch the 14 of Ryan Kemper. Kemper started 30th here tonight. Well, Mark Truxell has jumped up to the top lane, hoping somebody would go with him, but to no avail. He's going to free fall to the back of the field here unless he can get some help. Truxell battling within the top 5 at the beginning of this run. Now finds himself all the way back in 18th position. Only 21 trucks on the lead lap. Truxell's going to fall in line here somewhere. So back out front, battle for the race lead. Connor Leach has had it, but now the outside starting to come through. Mark Collins looking for the top spot. Collins off the nose. Double O Joe Bennett. Here comes Ryan Kemper in the mix as well. So 30 laps complete here at Talladega Super Speedway. Collins and Leach, the two trucks at the front of the field. Brian McCann and Double O Joe close behind, along with Lawson and Kemper. 1/3 distance here at Talladega. We're going to step aside, get a track limits side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
at Talladega Super Speedway. 35 laps up on the board. Connor Leach, Brian McCann, the top two. It's Lawson and Collins. Not much has really changed here at the front of the field. Outside lane again here, Mark Truxell trying to get something going. He's got Albert Anderson working with him, but Anderson not on the lead lap either. Anderson back in 26th. He's a couple of laps down. Indeed, he's 3. Doesn't mean he can't go up there and draft. Skylar Harrod now, damaged truck albeit, but he's going to tuck in line here. Now another vehicle goes up top side. I think that's Tommy Welch. So a 4-truck draft on the top lane. Let's see if they can make this work and start marching back towards the front. Been under the green now for about 16 laps from the last caution, our only caution of the afternoon, though it was a big one. Lost a lot of trucks out of that ordeal. Top lane starting to work. Another lap truck up ahead of the race leaders right now. They're going to have to find a way to negotiate their way around. Oh, Kemper gets into the back of Double-O Joe. Joe hangs on to it. Almost an issue from turn number 2, but the slow truck drops down. That's Mike Corvu. Goes to the bottom of the racetrack, makes plenty of room for the leaders to get on by, so no chaos ensuing there. So now Mark Collins is taking over the race lead. Leach all over the tailgate of the 23 as they work out of turn number 4. Maintaining about a 12-inch differential between himself and Collins. Collins slips up the racetrack, opens up the wheel a little early off turn number 2, opens the door for Leach. Now they're side by side down the back straightaways. They head down into turn number 3. Too much momentum to the bottom side. Leach is going to take it back over. Collins will slip back to 3rd, maybe 4th now before it's all said and done. Collins, though, is going to battle back into turns 1 and 2 with the help of Double-O Joe Bennett. Still, the bottom lane seems to be the dominant place to be as it does work around a little bit faster. Off turn number 2, Leach back to the point, but the outside with the run, a little momentum with that wider exit. Short way around prevails again. Leach slips up the track a little bit, maybe to throw the block on the 23. Oh, Leach maybe missed his entry just slightly there. Doesn't seem to hurt him too bad. Still side by side for the lead through the tri-oval. They'll come to start finish. It looks like Collins is going to lead it. top 4 in formation down the back straightaway. Double Ojo trying to step out, make some moves here in front of Skylar Herod. Herod in the 3, though not on the lead lap as of yet. He is the first truck 1 lap down, though, in 21st, so if he were to catch that caution, as long as he's not involved, he would get that lucky dog position. Hey, we may have some trouble here behind the leaders. Mark Truxell and Sean Roberts, maybe? Something going down there. Truxell slow, so is Sean Roberts. Heard the engine RPM drop behind the leaders. Didn't catch what happened, but we stay green. No caution as a result. Tommy Welch a little bit slow as well. He'll have to tuck in behind the 19 of Fahey. There might have been a bigger issue than we realized at the back of the pack, because a lot of these drivers have gotten separated out. They're really going to have to get formed up single file to work their way back towards this bigger pack. Meanwhile, out front, the battle for the lead continues. It's Leach and Collins still side by side. No one wants to give. Been under the green now for 23 laps. Green flag pit stops could become a topic of conversation relatively soon. 75% fuel load on board. Not sure what that translates to the number of laps they're able to make on a full tank. Losing a lot of momentum as his lane starts to fall apart. And here we go, pit stops. Land rush out of turn 4. Connor Leach trying to get her load down. It's slipping and sliding, locking up the rears. McCann's slow and steady, but's going to win the race into pit lane. How's that for spicing things up? Drivers having to back up here. Looks like that might be Justin Lawson. Yes, it is. Too close to the wall. Has to get reorganized. Connor Leach down and away. So is Brian McCann. They leave at the same time, the same way they came in, but Connor's going to get out there a little bit faster. Right now, new leader Jesse Redding. Second place Ryan Pasoko and Tom Barish as now they come to pit lane. Redding will finish his pit work. So fuel only for the 21. So now Ryan Pasoko credited with the lead, but he's got to get up to speed here before the fast guys get by, and there it goes. Connor Leach, Brian McCann, tandem drafting. Drafting? There's a T in there. Drafting. We haven't seen this in about 10, 15 years. So even these two at the front of the field, Leach and McCann, 1-2, drafting single file, trying to go best they can here. They're going to get reeled in a hurry by Joe Bennett, Nick Biddy, and the like. They're a little bit further back, as you can see, 2.6 seconds. So we're lap 46, 2.6 back. Let's see how quick they can reel everybody in. They're not really packed up, though. You see Joe Bennett and Nick Biddy there, and another truck's going to pull off here. I think that's Ross Endicott. He'll come to pit lane. But these guys need to get packed up. They need more numbers. At least 3. 4 is better. 5 would be ideal. More is even better. The more trucks you can get nose to nose. Sorry, nose to tail. Nose to nose means bad things. But nose to tail, the faster that they're going to go, and they're going to be able to reel in those leaders much quicker. That said, they're still gaining. Now 3/10 of that deficit has been eaten up in just the last 3/4 of a lap. Big gaggle of trucks further back. Joe Bennett now has got the deficit to 1.4 and still shrinking. Got the pusher out behind him. That's the 32 of Biddy, able to pull some draft off the 31 of Milner. You see how quickly they're going to reel in the 31, but they want him part of this group. They may pass him. They may let him tuck in. We'll see. They're going to go to the outside of the 31. But you see now it's 0.6 of a second. Third place up to the top 2. Now, situation with this, if they had been packed up 5, 6, 7 trucks as they reel in the top 2, they would have just gone by them like they were standing still. Leach and McCann would have had to work hard to try and reel them back in, but now they've switched lanes. They pulled some draft off the 97 of Mike Corvu. That was a bit of a help there for the 71 as he used Mike as a pick, kind of blocked the rest of the field. Those guys last-minute lane change, even caught Brian McCann by surprise. But now 1 through 4 here, Leach, McCann, Bennett, and Biddy. 5th is Larry Dickerson, not too far out of the frame either. So with these green flag pit stops, we had about 5 laps to go. It has really separated this field out into 3 distinct packs. We watch the lead pack right now. Leach, McCann, Bennett, Biddy, Dickerson. There's some lap trucks mixed in. Scott Milner and Mike Corvu. They're just hanging on to the draft. Again, that's okay. Mark Collins, though, back there in the second pack. Carson Rowland, the lead truck in that group, though, he's running 19th, where Collins behind him is running 6th. Smaller packs further down the line. Mike Fahey, Skylar Herod, Paul Durkee. So now a relatively calm race here at Talladega Super Speedway. We've only had 1 caution, knock on wood, though it was a pretty considerable one. better than half the field involved in it, and it started up front with the leaders. It was Vincent Short and Skylar Harrod that lit the fuse, and everybody else piled in thereafter. "17 trucks on the lead lap presently. 333 is Sean Roberts, the last truck on the lead lap in 17th. This is the second pack here with Mark Collins and Jesse Redding. Collins running in P6. Redding in that black and green number 21 right there behind him. Carson Rowland in the 90 in 18th. Not a lead lap truck, but still leading this group. Further back, Mike Fahey. This is the 13th position. Again, another pack, albeit a smaller one. Skylar Harrod in behind, along with the 12 of Paul Durkee. Eddie Rose, a truck length off this group. If they can get tucked back in there, they could go a little bit quicker, make this a 4-truck draft. Gotta stay single file here. Ross Endicott can pull up, make it a 5-truck draft. "55 laps in here at Talladega. It's a bit of follow the leader here this afternoon. It seems, for the most part, P1 gets out there into the lead, really just hangs on to it. You might get a group of trucks that can build a run to the outside, but with the exception of just a couple of incidents, most of the time the trucks really aren't able to pull down in front of the leader and take that top spot. As it stands now, with this field dwindled down the way that it has, and then the green flag stops that have separated everybody out, there's not a whole lot of challenging going on right now. With that said, if you're out there in the stream chat, feel free to jump in again, say hello, cheer on your driver, talk about anything. I don't care. As long as it's PG, you can bring up whatever. Either way, we appreciate you being here. If you're looking for something to click in the meantime, click that thumbs up. Help us out with that like button. It's a good thing to do for us. It's free for you guys to do. You don't have to pay to be a subscriber, so we do ask that every time you are here watching the broadcast, hit that thumbs up button. It really does help push these streams and these videos after the fact out to some wider audiences, get some more eyeballs on what's going on here at Track Limits. Not only us, but the league as well. This has become an invite-only league. It's been going on for quite some time. Obviously, since season 18, Derek Welch has been running this quite well for a long time, and we've been a part of it for quite a while as well, so we're certainly proud of that. This season, we're running the trucks, and then season 19, we'll be switching over to the newly added ARCA car. Certainly looking forward to that. Going to cover a couple of leagues with that car this season. If you're wondering about the Pro Sim Racing Alliance that we cover on Sunday nights, they will be returning. They've also started up a Super Speedway League on Thursday evenings. We are not covering that one just due to my summer schedule not allowing it. But They'll still be back here on Sunday nights. They're also going to be running that ARCA car, so stay tuned for that. Should see them back on track here mid-May. And then, of course, we got the Vigilante Racing League on Wednesdays. We're going to continue to cover that season. They're staying in the trucks. Number 2 here, Mark Collins, the lead lap truck in charge. Carson Rowland, though, leading the charge. That's pack number 2. Pack number 3, Mike Fahey. That's Skylar Herod. Paul Durkee, Russ Endicott, Eddie Rose. And another pack. Oh, wait, no, that's the leader. Oh, we said Sean Roberts was the first truck, last truck on the lead lap. Oh, now he's the first truck 1 lap down. Actually, I take that back. Ryan Kemper, the first truck 1 lap down. It's the same situation. If we get that caution, Kemper would be the recipient of the lucky dog. Field showing a lot of patience at this stage of the race. We are 2/3 distance here at Talladega. Connor Leach, Brian McCann have been really the class of the field out in front, 1 and 2 in some form or fashion for the majority of the race. Still lots to go here with 31 and change remaining. We're going to step aside yet again, get a track limit side-by-side out of the way. It will be our last break of the race. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Talladega Super Speedway, 64 laps just about to be completed. Connor Leach still leads Brian McCann, Joe Bennett, Nick Biddy, and Larry Dickerson. Another round of green flag pit stops likely to be coming soon. With about 25 laps on the previous run, we are about 20 laps from the last round. If we stay green to the end, this next pit stop would be the money stop, the last stop of the race. We say it so many times, do not beat yourself. And what I mean by that, do not make a mistake getting into the pits or getting out of the pits. Do not throw this away. So 65 laps complete. Again, about 4 or 5 laps shy of another round of green flag pit stops. We've been very, very clean racing here so far, with the exception of just one major incident early on in this race. It took out half the field. Since then, we've been clean and green ever since. Now with 25 laps to go. Due to the lack of cautions, this field has been separated pretty considerably. Packs starting to join each other, however. We have still 3, but that second pack with Mark Collins has gotten a little bit bigger. They're playing it smart, too. They're all running single file for the most part. Jonathan Marsh in the chat, filling us in on his bad luck, unfortunately. Jonathan Marsh, shown 28th, has some equipment failure tonight, so he's out of this one, unfortunately. Jonathan, if you're still listening, let us know exactly what you lost out there. Was it pedals? Was it steering wheel? Was it the PC? What happened? Oh, Jarrett Woodard real loose down the backstretch. That's not something you really want to see. Woodard in the 79 started to tank slap a little bit, and that was down the straightaway. Woodard running back in the 12th spot. Started 26th, so far, so good for the 79. And pit stop's underway. Connor Leach comes down. Brian McCann stayed out. It's going to be an interesting situation for the 7, but now Leach in the pits. He's going to put some tires on. Interesting call. Is it going to be rights only for the 71, or is he going to go 4? Fuel going in, right side only, and there he goes, down and away. Meanwhile, Carson Rowland having a nightmare pit stop. So now at the front of the field, it's Brian McCann and Mark Collins. Now Collins further back, but here they come. 4 pit stops, last stops of the day. McCann and Milner going to come down. So is Mike Corvo. Corvo in the grass. He loses it in front of McCann. McCann has to take evasive action. Lucky to avoid contact, but that's going to cost him some time. Hopefully he kept it at pit road speed. So we'll see where Brian cycles back out after this. This is going to be, looks like a fuel-only stop for the 7. Drops the jack, heads down. No penalty for Brian. That's a good thing. Now he's got to get back out there and regroup. Update on Jonathan Marsh. He lost pedal calibration, was only getting 70% throttle when he had it mashed to the floor. I've had similar issues in the past, but it was the opposite. It was the brake pedal that was applying itself. No matter what I did, I'd have to recalibrate it about every pit stop. I was getting about 5 to 10% brake input. Don't want that at Talladega, that's for sure. Certainly don't want lack of throttle either. So tough break for Jonathan Marsh, being out of this one early. So McCann comes back out. He is now 6. Now Jesse Redding re-inherits the top spot. Kind of what happened on that last round of pit stops. He has stayed out. The only driver not to pit yet, Collins and Barish, spent a very long time in the pits. Looks like both drivers receiving 40-second stop and hold, likely too fast entering. Tough break for Collins. He had a fast truck tonight too, spent some time near the front. So out of turn 4, will we see Jesse Redding? Yes, we will. He's going to hit pit lane with no help. This is not going to be a good thing for the 21. He's got to make his pit stop nevertheless, but he doesn't have any dancing partners to do it with. So Jesse Redding down and away in 12.5. And the lead changes hands again. Connor Leach, Double O Joe, Larry Dickerson, Nick Biddy, the top 3. So Brian McCann definitely lost some time in that exchange in the pits. And this is going to be tough for McCann because he is all by his lonesome. Redding coming up to speed, still shown in 10th. There you see it. No drafting help for Brian McCann. He's just going to sit there in that helpless feeling and watch that lead pack get smaller and smaller out the windshield. Second pack of trucks here. I don't think they're going to catch Brian McCann in time to do anything with the leaders. There's that chance. The only saving grace would be another caution. We've only had one so far tonight. Even with the smaller field size after that wreck, still likely to see some aggression as this race gets near to the end. Justin Lawson here, the lead truck in this pack, running in 6th overall. Tommy Welch in the 9, in 7th, couple of lappers in between, then Jarrett Woodard. Milner's lap down, Barish a lap down after a penalty. Jesse Redding, again, same situation as Brian McCann. He's 9th, but he's by himself. Not an effective way to turn lap times here on these super speedways. You've got to have somebody out there with you. It's going to get Ryan Pasoko and Mike Fahey here pretty soon. No. Ryan Pasoko, and it looks like maybe Paul Durkee. No, it's going to be the 11, Coleman. So they're going to catch Redding here, likely go on by, but Redding will be able to pick up the draft as they get next through. So these two small packs likely to become one relatively soon. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, the lap's winding down here, 16 and a half to go. Brian McCann has got a drafting partner now in Mike Corvu. Only 2 trucks, so it's not ideal, but it's better than being by yourself. But man, he is a ways back, 6 seconds to gain, and I just don't think there's enough time left to do that. McCann was caught off guard when those guys made their pit stop prior to him. He was kind of forced to come down by himself. Interestingly enough, Corvu is the one that had the problem going through the grass and spun in front of McCann in the pits. Now he's got the opportunity to try and help the 7. You see Mark Collins there at the backside of this pack. He is running in 14th. He's the first truck 1 lap down. Again, receiving that penalty. Likely too fast entering pit lane. Lap truck up ahead, the 57 of Russ Endicott. I would be well willing to bet Double O Joe and or Larry Dickerson are going to turn up the wick something fierce here before this one is over. Dickerson and Double O Joe not afraid of being aggressive. Not showing their hand just yet, but they are in position here late at Talladega Superspeedway. The difference is, though, you've got Connor Leach leading. 2 outlayers, second and third, but teammate to Connor Leach and Nick Biddy running in 4th. So you kind of got to wonder if Joe Bennett and Larry Dickerson step out of line to make a move here. Does Biddy go with them? Or does he stay put and kind of try and hang them out? There's not enough trucks really behind Biddy to build too much of a draft. It may be enough time that those second and third place driver there could pull back down in front. Or here's the alternative strategy, is if I'm Nick Biddy, if those guys in second and third, Bennett and Dickerson, step out, I'm going to go with them. And as soon as they get alongside the 71, I'm going to swap lanes and get in behind the 71 of Connor Leach. Pull the draft off my teammate, see if we can go 1-2. Just throwing something at the wall here and hoping it sticks, but that big crash early on, it really kind of sucked the wind out of this race with pulling a lot of trucks out of contention. With less than 13 laps to go, there is still an opportunity for some chaos and excitement before we see a checkered flag. Lori Vaught, speaking of which, she's in the chat. She's been helping out with some admin duties over in the Num Thumbs Racing League. Of course, she and Alan run the Vigilante Racing League that we cover here on Wednesday nights, but she pops over here and helps out Derek with some admin duties when he's unavailable, or sometimes even when he is, just because that's the kind of person that Lori is. But she says, DW and I have been very bored tonight. I mean, it could be worse, Lori. We could run Martinsville again if you want. If you know, you know. Ten and a half laps to go. It's still Leach, Bennett, Dickerson, Biddy, top 4. Brian McCann still back in 5th, but he's starting to close in as looky, that pack has reeled in Brian McCann and Mike Corvu. So a few more trucks in the mix. Still with 11 laps to go. I just don't know if there's enough time for McCann to get up there and challenge. I still think he's going to need a caution to do anything major. Certainly not out of the question, though, as he is starting to run these guys down. Lori Vaught, you watch it, Steve. If there's those of you out there watching tonight's stream don't remember Martinsville VRL, really it was both leagues, Martinsville and Num Thumbs. It was an absolute caution fest. I think one had 20-some cautions. The other one was maybe 1 or 2 shy of that. It was a busy night for all the admins, and certainly Barney the Flagman I think he's got yellow flag elbow or something like that. So this makes up for it. So far, only one yellow with 10 to go. Nine laps left. It's some changes here at the front of the field. Some drivers stepping out of line. Nick Biddy trying to go around the outside. Mark Collins pushing. Again, Collins not a lead lap truck. He can kind of do as he pleases here. He's just out there turning laps, trying to see if he can get that lucky dog, but he's going to help the 32 of Biddy as Russ Endicott comes into the mix here. He is not a lead lap truck either, but again, can certainly play a part. To the outside, Nick Biddy looking for the lead here on his teammate Connor Leach with 8 laps to go as they cross the stripe, and Biddy's going to lead it. Does he have enough room? He does. He pulls hard left in front of his teammate. He's not waiting for the last lap. He says, you know what? Let's do this now. Let's make sure we can get a Sisk Speed Shop win here, whether it's Biddy or Leach. They're going to make it happen. So Plus EV Racing asking a very valid question. Does this first pack have enough fuel to make it? I believe so. The first green flag stop, I think, was lap 45. Green flag came out at lap 20, so they went about 25 laps. They made pit stops last, the top 4, at least at lap 67. Let's do some quick math here. That is 23 laps, so I think they're good to go. Of course, if we get a late caution and a green-white checker, that might throw a bit of a monkey wrench into the equation, but cross that bridge when we get to it. Meanwhile, change for the race lead again. We talked about Larry Dickerson and his level of aggression, and there it is. Cuts down in front of the 32 of Nick Biddy and teammate Connor Leach. So he's got 2 Sisk Speed Shop drivers tucked in behind, but Dickerson's out front. Biddy swaps over. Leach goes with him, looking for the race lead yet again. Through the tri-oval, big wiggle from the 32. Oh yeah, we're not done wrecking. They're not going to keep this up for 6 more laps without a yellow. And here comes Brian McCann looking to the outside in front of Mike Corvu. He's got the draft off Larry Dickerson. Brian McCann not going away quietly. He's still got a shot. Oh, Joe Bennett gets in the back of Nick Biddy. They all stack up a bit, but everybody keeps it straight. No tire smoke yet. Bennett swaps over now, looks to the inside on Nick Biddy. Biddy, the outside, number 32, Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, but coming to the stripe. Yeah, Biddy's still going to lead it. They did a good job separating the Speed Shop drivers of Nick Biddy and Connor Leach, but now Biddy with the lead. Dickerson to the outside and McCann in 5th, trying to push the 69 into the wind. Now we got a pack. Biddy leads the low lane. Dickerson leading up top with Brian McCann in tow. Then it's the 20 of Justin Lawson. Needs some more help on that outside lane. The bottom's been dominant all night long, but you can do it. You can make the pass on the outside. You can get it done if you've got the numbers and you can be organized. But right now, the low lane is the short way around, and they've got more trucks to draft with. On board with Larry Dickerson. Larry with the lead, edges out in front of the 32, still not quite clear. Low lane coming back. Big run to the inside. Joe pushing Nick Biddy with all he's got. Cross start finish. Biddy back to the point. Here comes Connor Leach. Less than 3 laps to go. Nick Biddy leads. Bennett second. Leach third. Dickerson now third. Bennett below the yellow line, entry into turn 3, just getting some fresh air on the nose of his truck. Side-by-side battle for the lead again now. It's Biddy and Dickerson. Biddy maintaining the lead, but not by much. Dickerson still fighting to the outside. Bennett washes up the track just a little bit. Everybody keeps their foot planted through the floorboard.
There will be a caution.
And the caution is out. Not sure what we have or why it's out, but the caution has come out late here at Talladega Superspeedway. It looks like the 12 of Ben McKinnon involved in it. Second caution of the night, and it comes at a very inopportune time with 2 to go. Sets us up for NASCAR overtime, our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Well, let's see what happened here. Looks like Carson Rowland may have been involved as well. Oh, big hit. Big time hit. Rowland into the fence. Let's take another look at this. Oh, man. That reminds me a lot of that Carl Edwards wreck years ago where he took half the fence down. Fahey comes up a bit, makes contact with Rowland and sends him into the path of McKinnon. The rest is history. Looked a lot like Ryan Newman's crash at Daytona a couple years ago as well. So that's it. That's our second caution of the night. Sends us into overtime. Our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Some drivers opted for pit lane. The top 3, though, stayed out. Nick Biddy, Joe Bennett, Jarrett Woodard. They're going to be your top 3 when we go back to the green. Larry Dickerson, Brian McCann, Connor Leach, just about everybody else on the lead lap after them went down pit lane. McCann topping off for fuel. Larry Dickerson the same. Connor Leach the same. Justin Lawson appears to have taken 4 tires. He'll restart 7th. Again, kind of what we talked about. Plus EV Racing was asking about, does the lead pack have enough fuel to make it to the end? The comment that we made here at Track Limits was, well, yes, if we go to the end and stay green. Green, white, checkered might complicate the situation, and that is exactly what has happened. Those drivers were aware of it, and they made the trip to pit lane just in case. Now, similar situation at play here with Biddy, Bennett, and Woodard. Their pit stops coming at 67, 67, and Jarrett Woodard at 68. If we get another wreck here and another caution, it would set us up for another green, white, checkered finish. We can do this up to 3 times. Then those 3 drivers would be in a position where they have to make that call. Do we need to pit for fuel, or are we going to gamble and stay out? Nick Biddy in charge. You saw him driving the truck down to the flat of the racetrack, trying to make it as short of a trip around here as possible. Nick likely shutting off the truck under caution as well, trying to coast as much as possible. But this is going to be an interesting one. I mean, Nick Biddy and Joe Bennett on the front row. Then Woodard, Dickerson, McCann, the top 5. Plus EV Racing goes, what place were they racing for that caused the wreck? At the time, I'm not 100% sure where they were at. I can really only tell you where they are now. But Mike Fahey was in that mix. And interestingly enough, Fahey is actually shown in the 8th position, so it wasn't a terrible spot. Tommy Welch was near as well. He's running 9th. So I was within the top 10 in that general area. Quite a ways back from the leaders, but positionally wasn't for last. Again, Biddy working the bottom of the racetrack here, trying to make this trip around under yellow as short as possible. Also trying to keep fuel in the fuel pickup. Again, that pickup tube is in the right rear of the fuel cell. As at speed, the centrifugal force pushes that fuel to the right rear of the fuel cell. So under caution, it may skip and sputter. So Nick trying to keep some fuel in that pickup tube at the bottom right rear of the tank. Pace truck's about to pull in here. Likely our final restart of the day. Field into the tri-oval. Again, start, finish, and pit exit. So a little bit of a ways to get to it. Barney with the green in hand.
Green flag.
And there it is. Field coming up to speed. 2 laps to go. Got to keep in mind, guys, it takes almost an entire lap here with this restricted engine package to get up to full song. But now we're 3 wide for the lead. Biddy to the inside. Bennett in the middle and Leach up top. Leach off the nose of Mike Fahey. Now to the middle lane. You got Larry Dickerson pushing Joe Bennett. 2 of the most aggressive guys in the field up the gut. On to turn 4, coming to the white flag. Into the tri-oval. Do they get there before the yellow? Big wiggle, a little bit of contact behind Bennett. Cross the stripe. White flag. Last lap here from Talladega Superspeedway. Joe Bennett with the lead for now. But will that be the finishing order? I doubt it. Biddy to the bottom. Jarrett Woodard there in behind. Is he a strong enough pusher to get Biddy out in front? And the 71 is in the fence hard off turn number 2. We stay green. It's going to be a race back to the finish. Kemper gets into Connor Leach hard there on the back straightaway. His race will end on the back straightaway. Biddy with the lead, 3 wide behind him. Contact with Woodard into Dickerson. Now Dickerson up the racetrack with Woodard. Now it's Pasoko in behind Nick Biddy. No drafting help for Double O Joe as they work out of turn number 4. The leaders are slow. Coming into the tri-oval for the final time, Nick Biddy from the 9th starting position drives it to the front late and takes the win here at Talladega. Wow, what a finish. Ken Couch in the chat says, go Fahey. Fahey finishes 8th. If anybody tuned in to watch Mike wreck, well, he didn't. Strong finish for the 19. But Nick Biddy picking up the win here at Talladega. Somewhat of a home win for Nick Biddy out of Dawsonville, Georgia. We're not in Atlanta, but it's close. Mike Corvu going to come up. I think Biddy's shaking the truck here. He might be out of gas. Yeah, he's running out of fuel right now. Barely running. So not likely to see burnouts from the 32 of Nick Biddy. Just enough to make it to the end, and that's kind of what we were talking about. If we had a second green-white checker, Nick Biddy was going to have to make that pit stop. He would not have made it. .32 just coasting to start-finish, and Connor Leach smoking all. Well, still got some fire under the hood. Not much. That's all she wrote for the 32, but the checkered flag is still his. Empty tank or not. With that, we'll step aside here. We'll get our break out of the way. We'll have our top 3 finishers in the booth after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Talladega Super Speedway, a somewhat dull race that turned into a thrilling finish. Nick Biddy taking top honors here at Talladega. Let's see if we can get a word with the driver of the number 32 machine. And talk to Nick Biddy. Nick, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got me?
Hey, Steve. How's it going, bud?
It's going, Nick. Going good, Nick. Been a while since we had a chance to talk to you, but you pick up the win here at Talladega. Started in the 9th position and didn't wait till the last couple of laps to make your move. I think it was about 8 to go. You jumped to the outside and got past teammate Connor Leach, took the race lead, and then the caution came out. We went to overtime. Walk us through those last 10, 12 laps of this thing en route to your win here at Talladega.
Well, Steve, I wanted to get with Connor Leach. He's my teammate. He's a pretty good pusher and a pretty good person to push. So I was trying to get with him, and then I thought we kind of had it figured out there until the last little caution come out. And then we were almost out of fuel. So I'm kind of upset. I didn't have enough fuel to do my burnout.
Well, we kind of saw that shaping up. We were wondering because there was a few drivers that made their pit stop on that green-white checkered caution, topping off for fuel. 3 of you guys stayed out, hoping you could make it to the end. We were worried if we had a second green-white checkered that was going to cost you guys the race. It didn't happen. You got to the finish. You take the checkered flag. Forget the burnouts. You got the win.
That's right. I'll take it. That's good enough for me.
Looking forward next week. We go back to some real racing, depending on who you talk to. We're going to be at Texas Motor Speedway. How do you feel about your chances for a solid performance next week after getting your first win here in Talladega?
I'm usually pretty decent at Texas, but there's a bunch of good drivers here. Sisk, Leach. I'm sure there's a handful of other guys that are pretty good at Texas. So maybe we can just get a good top 10. I think this is a win and you're in the playoffs type deal. So maybe we can just hang around the top 10, top 5 at Texas.
Well, either way, wish you the best of luck. A job well done here in Talladega, Alabama. Who do you want to thank before we let you get out of here, Nick?
Yeah, for sure, man. I really appreciate my team, Sis Speed Shop. Caleb, we had him in the Discord channel tonight doing a little crew chiefing, and Connor helping us out a little bit, pushing, and a little bit of pit strategy. And then, obviously, we can't forget the one, the only, my beautiful smoking hot wife, Jess Biddy. Thank you, baby, for watching. Also, I would assume my children are watching. I know Cora is watching. Appreciate it, Cora. Thank you for watching. I hope you feel better soon.
Well, you got to tell Jesse and Cora to tighten it up. They got to jump in that stream chat. We didn't see either of them tonight, so.
Well, so she had a ball game tonight. So go Lady Warriors. They won their softball game, and so they got I think they caught the tail end of the stream. So
lots of W's in the Biddy household tonight. Congrats again, Nick. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week, man.
Hey, we're a pile of winners over here.
All right, Nick. We'll see you.
See ya.
Nick Biddy, your race winner here in Talladega. Next, we're going to talk to Double O Joe, driver of that body armor F-150. Pull him up into the broadcast booth. Get a word with our runner-up, Joe Bennett. Steve with Track Limits. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Joe, congratulations, man. We expected you to be in the mix here as this race got winding down towards the end. Certainly no shortage of aggression on your part. You're ready to go after that checkered flag. Just come up one short here tonight. Walk us through the closing laps of your race.
Yeah, I was on the brink of running out of gas the entire time. I didn't pit there because I didn't want to get caught up. I knew something was going to happen back there, so me and Nick, I guess, had the same strategy. Try not to pit. I had saved literally just enough, so I was a little worried there, but I kept out in front of the mess. That's what I aimed to do tonight. So it seems like I got a podium out of it. So I'm excited.
Well, it was a job well done. It's always good when you can finish these things. Even better when you get to talk to the broadcast team after the fact. Second place finish here at Talladega. Good momentum rolling into Texas Motor Speedway next week. A different style racetrack for sure. Going to be a bit of a tire eater. What's the game plan rolling into Texas Motor Speedway in our next race?
Most people that watch me race, I just hang in the back, save a little tire, hang back here, and always at the end I make my way up in the top 10 somewhere. So that's usually my plan every race. Just save a little tire, fill out the track, be there at the end, and get some points.
Well, you certainly got some points here tonight. Again, just one short of picking up a checkered flag. A job well done here tonight, man. Who do you want to shout out to and thank before we let you go?
First, shout out to my team plus EV, even though none of them showed up tonight. Paul had a little thunderstorm issue rolling through Pennsylvania up there, so he had an excuse. But yeah, shout out to you for broadcasting every week, and Derek for running the leagues, and Lori for race controlling. And shout out to everybody that raced clean tonight, man. We did really good. I think everybody had a good race. And shout out to my pops. I know he's watching, and my uncle's probably watching too. But yeah, shout out to everybody that had a clean race, good race tonight. I had a lot of fun.
Certainly a good one to watch. 00 Joe Bennett, second place finish here at Talladega. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week in Texas.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's Joe Bennett. We'll talk to Ryan Pasocco next, our third place finisher, the driver of that number 2 machine. Really worked his way through this field tonight. Started in the 17th spot. Ryan comes home in a top 3 position, in the 3rd position. Ryan, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got a copy?
I got you.
Ryan, congratulations, man. A job well done. Finishing this thing off. Again, that's half the battle. Just got to finish these things, but you bring it home to a 3rd place finish. Walk us through your race.
Yeah, like you said, we just wanted to bring this thing home in one piece, really. So, tried to stay out of trouble for most of the day, and I think I was a little bit part of the last yellow there, which was unfortunate, but benefited me at the end. So, I think we were 12th on that final restart and ended up 3rd, so we'll take it.
Certainly a job well done. We've been noticing the last handful of races here, your pace has gone up. You've been in the mix quite a bit. Is that going to continue next week in Texas Motor Speedway?
I hope so. Haven't been real good at Texas, but hopefully things will turn around and we'll have another good run.
All right, Ryan. Well, again, congratulations on 3rd place here tonight. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Just want to thank my competitors and the series for having me. It's been a blast this year and enjoyed it, so looking forward to the rest of the season.
All right, Ryan, sounds good. Congratulations again on the 3rd place finish here at Talladega. Wish you the best of luck next week at Texas.
Appreciate it.
It's Ryan Pasocco, your 3rd place finisher here at Talladega Super Speedway. That's going to do it for the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look here at our race results. Of course, we talked to Nick Biddy, 00 Joe Bennett, and Ryan Pasocco. That was your top 3. 4th place was Justin Lawson. Mark Truxell finished in the 5th spot. Told you he'd be up there before this one is out. He started 27th. Got to give a hand, though. Going back here to Joe Bennett, looking at where people started, talk about a hard charger. Joe Bennett started 25th, finished 2nd. Job well done. Further down the line, Jesse Redding brought it home one shy of a top 5, finished in 6th. Paul Durkee was 7th. 8th place was Mike Fahey. Didn't wreck tonight. Brian McCann not able to make it back up to the front, finishes 9th. Joe David was 10th. Tommy Welch, 11th, just outside the top 10. Larry Dickerson, 12th. Jarrett Woodard, 13th. Connor Leach, after a big wreck there on the closing laps, finishes 14th. Last truck on the lead lap. Tom Barish was 15th. Sean Roberts was 16th. 17th place was Eddie Rose. Mark Collins was 18th. Skylar Herod, 19th. Ryan Kemper finishes in the 20th position. Scott Milner was 21st. Albert Anderson, 22nd. Ben McKinnon, 23rd. Russ Endicott, 24th. Carson Rowland was 25th. Mike Corvu was 26th, Brandon Coleman 27th, 28th went to Jonathan Marsh, 29th Drew Blaze, 30th Vincent Short, Rick LePage was 31st, and Chris Goins will take the 32nd and final position, 77 laps down after an early exit here in that first crash. Your race results here from race 10 at Talladega, season number 18. Race 11 next week, Texas Motor Speedway. Make sure you tune in for it here at Track Limits Network. If you guys haven't already done so, please hit that thumbs up, that like button. It makes a big difference. It helps us out quite a bit. Pushes the video out to some wider audiences. It helps us here at the channel, not only us, but also the league as well. Get some interest for some other iRacers out in that land. We do appreciate it. It's free to do. We don't charge you a subscription fee or anything like that. So that's all we ask. Just hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, that's free too. Help us out. Hit that button. We're over 1,000 now. We're working for more. With all that said, congratulations again to Nick Biddy taking the race win here tonight. Thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. Stream Chat got busy here late. Appreciate you guys jumping in. Let's see, Ken Couch. That's a name we all know. See Robert Altman. We had Jonathan March jumping in. Brett Balch, Lori Vaught, of course, Shugu, that's a name we've seen before. Jesse Biddy coming in better late than never. Still nothing from Cora, but Mike Fahey helping us out with the likes, and Judy Lennox says WTG Mike. So that'll wrap it up for us here at Track Limits. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We'll see you guys at the next one. Thanks for watching.